Hello and welcome to Up the Turnpike, your source for New York Islanders content both here on YouTube and over on Patreon, where we have our podcast that we host twice a week. That's patreon.com/uptheturnpike. In this video, as the banner says down below, top 5 underrated Islanders prospects. Now, just a bit of housekeeping, you'll see the outlay or the inlay or whatever you want to call this is a little bit different. It's not just my ugly face. You got our nice little logo up top here. I can move. The banner discussing what the topic is, our socials down in the corner, and in the top corner, you're going to see right now it's the next 5 games for the Islanders, the high leading scores for the team, and then you're going to look at where we are in the standings right now. We're in the middle, and then the teams above us and the 2 teams below us. So a little freshening things up here on the channel to make things nice and new and interesting. But the topic at hand today, top 5 New York Islanders prospects. So right away, we are not talking about Cole Eiserman. We are not talking about Calum Ritchie. Forget those guys. Alex Jeffries, get out of here. We're not talking about you guys. You get enough daylight. Let's talk about the guys who aren't getting enough daylight. First one, Calle Odelius. This is a kid that I've been high on since we drafted him in the second round of the 2022 NHL entry draft. I love his skating ability, the 4-way skating ability, great offensive instincts. Now, the reason you might say, like, he's got all these things, but why is he underrated? He's not having a great year at the AHL level this season. Calle Odelius is just not getting on, if you will. I know plus minus is a garbage stat. I totally agree with it. But in this instance, I think it's kind of indicative of a greater issue here. When we look at the plus minus on the team for the garbage Bridgeport Islanders, Calle Odelius is tied for worst on the team at a minus 32 with his, I wouldn't say defensive partner because they're both left-handed, in Samuel Bolduc. Just not great in terms of the plus minus, but also just the stat line. 13 points in 57 games is not ideal. But this is his first year in the pros in North America. He was playing in the pros out in Sweden, even then at the second tier, and just kind of bouncing around, not really given a great role for Djurgårdens. So this is a big step in his development in terms of adapting to the North American and professional game. I know he played professionally in Europe, but he's having a larger role here for these Bridgeport Islanders than he did previously. And so I really like his hard, maybe not hard skills, but like those translatable skills. That's the word I was looking for in terms of his skating. His skating is not going to fail him at the NHL level when he eventually gets there, which I believe he will, which is why I've got Calle Odelius number 1. He's got all the tools to get there. He just needs the game, the North American and specifically professional game, to slow down. That's going to happen in time. Number 2 is Cameron Berg. Recently signed an ATO with the Bridgeport Islanders. He completed his NCAA career, finishing last year with the University of North Dakota. Now, I'm not going to get too excited with Cameron Berg. I've been excited about UND center alumni drafted by the Islanders before. Case in point, Colin Adams. I was pretty high on that kid, and, well, it didn't work out. He's still doing fantastically well, Colin Adams is, playing in Slovakia. But right now, he is not obviously in North America, which is where I thought he would end up. But either way, Cameron Berg, solid 2-way center, and he's been growing year over year over year. When I flip my screen here, you'll see what I'm talking about. I like to look at this graph. I may have shown you on the channel before, but for all the new people, this is how I track prospects, amongst other things. You can see all the tabs at the bottom and the random numbers. It's not a pretty thing to look at, but you'll get the gist of it. Anyways, this blue line is the typical growth rate for a first-line player at the NHL level, based off NHLE. This is the growth rate of what we would project to be a second-line player at the NHL level, and then a third-line player is the yellow line, while the green one is the player in question. And the guy we're looking at right now is Cameron Berg. And as I said, year over year, he has gotten better and better. He's projected, he's filling the projection trend, if you will, of a third line player. And that's totally fine. I don't see him as anything more than, if he ever gets to the NHL level, as a third line center, a Jean-Gabriel Pageau-esque type of guy. Tenacious, can play in all situations. And we've seen that at UND. We saw that at Omaha, Nebraska. He's just a fantastic two-way player. The game needs to round out for him. We'll see how he does at the pro level now that he's gone pro and signed that ATO. But I'm excited about this kid. I think he could potentially get to the NHL level. We just need to see how his AHL game rounds out first. Number 3 on the list is Liukas. Now, for people who've watched me talk about prospects before on my previous channel called Deckhands, you'll know that I'm already high on Liukas, and I have been for a long time. I love his game. He's physical, he's in your face, and he adds depth scoring. We're talking about a big kid here. He is 6'3", 205 pounds, as I show you his AHL card in a second as it loads. Like it's at 6'3", 205. Kid loves to hit. Think he's not got the scoring touch of a Maxim Tsipikov, but if you remember when we were talking about Maxim Tsipikov in his KHL stats, just hit everything on skates. That is Liukas. Hits everything on skates. Doesn't score a ton, but 11 points in 52 games. I still think that we've got a fourth liner in Liukas at the NHL level, that is. And I think he would complement a line of Kyle McLean and Mark Gatcomb well. Right? When they get up on the forecheck, both of those guys, while they hit, this guy adds that extra physical kind of like dog on a bone mentality to that line that already kind of has that mentality. He just takes it a step further. Doesn't go over the line, but takes it a step further. I think he would be a good addition to that line. Maybe not right away, because I don't think that the game is slowed down for him at the professional level in North America yet. But give him another year, and I think he gets to that fourth line for the New York Islanders. Number 4 on my list is Quinn Finley. He's a guy that just doesn't get enough love, specifically this year, because he has done some fantastic things for University of Wisconsin. As I flip to show you his elite prospect page, pardon all the ads, but he's got 40 points in 37 games this year, 20 goals, 20 helpers. Was fan-friggin-tastic for the Badgers, has committed to going back for his junior year. And if I show you the same growth rate as I had for Cameron Berg, we're going to look at Quinn Finley here. He is going above a third-line player, which is fantastic. He's trending towards second-line territory. Doesn't mean he will be a second-line player, but he's trending in that direction right now. Some of you might be worried about this big dip here, and that's totally fair. This is the change from going from the USHL level, where he played for Chicago, and I think someone else, I forget who he played before Chicago, doesn't matter, and then dipped down going to the NCAA level when he made that change from the USHL to the NCAA. Things change, man. The game gets harder when you go from the USHL to the NCAA, as it will when it goes from the NCAA to the AHL. But Quinn Finley has speed. His transition game is fantastic, and he's really, really creative. And he's getting, now that the game is slowed down at the NCAA level, he's picking up points. Again, 40 points in 37 games. There's a lot to like with Quinn Finley, and I think he needs to be higher in most people's rankings of the Islanders prospect pool. Final one here is Matthew Maggio, because I think people are forgetting that he's still around because he's maybe not producing enough to put his name in our mouths. The production rate for Matthew Maggio is not great this season, and I think anyone will tell you that that's the case. Maggio has 19 points in 57 games, sitting at a minus 29, which is not ideal. But the big change in Matthew Maggio's game is just that his scoring rate has dried up. Right? He went from an 11.4 shooting percentage last year with Bridgeport, scoring 16 goals in 61 games, to 5.1% this year. That's a big drop-off. It's not that the game has slowed down for him. He's still getting 138 shots on net over the season. That's a lot of shots. It's just not going in for him. We've seen these struggles with Anders Lee particularly just last year. It just wasn't going in for him. This year it's going in, and he's going to maybe score 30 goals on the year. I don't think Matthew Maggio is going to be a 30-goal scorer, but I think that we're just forgetting that he's still that dynamic player we saw back when he was putting in buckets and buckets of points for the Windsor Spitfires. So I just don't think that we should just forget about Matthew Maggio just yet. When I flip the screen here, and you can see at one point, this is when he was playing at the OHL level, he's pacing out to a first line player. I don't think he'll ever be a first line player, but you're going, we got an overager who's doing first line shit here. This is impressive. And it didn't really fall down last year when he was at the AHL level. So you're going, all right, well, he's kind of done the same thing at the AHL level. This is fantastic. Now, of course, it has dipped this year. We saw that, but the scoring rate has dried up. Otherwise, we've definitely got him as a second line player still. I don't think he's going to be a second line player, but he could be a middle six forward. There is talent there with Matthew Maggio. We saw it at the entire year at the OHL level playing for Windsor. This is a really good player, really creative player, and is great at getting pucks towards the net. I just think that once his scoring kind of comes back to form, you're going to see this kid be in everyone's mouths yet again, talking about him being someone who can play at the NHL level. We forgot about him because he's not producing. I'm telling you, don't forget about Matthew Maggio. Now, I'm sure you at home have had other players that you wanted to talk about. Maybe Isaiah George makes your list. He didn't for me because I rate him quite high already, and I think you do as well, so I didn't put him in. But maybe you have one at home that you think I needed to talk about. Put him in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us out, as it does for any YouTube channel that you like. Thank you for following. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.